Are there any bourbons that are worth my money in 2024? Let's find out. What is going on, everybody? Nathan here with the Everyday Drinker, bringing you guys a brand new video. Today we're going to go over the bottles of bourbons and whiskeys that I am really looking forward to possibly getting my hands on in the year of 2024. We have just started this year and we have a couple of really nice releases that are hitting the shelves at the moment that I'm really looking forward to possibly picking up. And then throughout the entire year, there are releases upon releases upon releases that I personally cannot wait to possibly pick up. Now, before we get into my bottles, as always, I want to know what bottles you are personally looking forward to picking up in 2024. There are always so many different releases, and even if it's just like something that's a regular shelf available bottle that you personally have never picked up before, let me know in the comments down below if you want to add something specific to your collection in the year 2024. As always, leave a like down below if you enjoy the content. Make sure you subscribe and check out the Patreon and the store down below for your Everyday Drinker merchandise, and to also possibly join an amazing community of guys over at the Discord. But without further ado, let's get into what I'm really looking forward to for 2024. So the first bottle that I'm really looking forward to is a bottle that I was able to have a sample of a couple of weeks ago when we did our best 10 and 12-year-old bourbons and whiskeys. Now, that specific bottle that I'm looking for is a Michters bourbon 10-year-old single barrel. If I could also get my hands on a Michters 10-year rye single barrel, that would be absolutely amazing. But I've heard really, really good things about the Michters single barrel bourbons, and the ryes were really, really good. The rye did come out in front of the bourbon, I do believe, in that video. Big bourbon guy, getting into the ryes, but to have that 10-year bourbon, you know, they vary in proof. They're usually in that 90 to like 94 proof range, and man, that bourbon was absolutely delicious, and I would love to be able to add one of those Michters to the collection this year. Bottle number 2. Now, bottle number 2 is going to be bottles 2 and 3, and it's hopefully we can get all 6 of them, and that would be the Elijah Craig offerings and the Larceny offerings. Now, there's 3 of each this year, as always. There are rumors that the Elijah Craig A124 is going to be a little bit younger than the B523 from last year. I think it's in that, I think they said 10-year, like 9-month range. I don't know if that's true or not. The Larceny A124 has already been released. People are already doing reviews on that bottle. Hopefully I can get my hands on that bottle here soon and bring you guys a review, because I slept on the Larcenys this year, and I wish I did not do that. But hopefully we can get our hands on all 6 of those bottles, add those bottles to the collection, and give you guys some amazing reviews for the rest of this year. Now, let's get into the next bottle. Now, the next bottle is one that has already hit the shelves in a couple of states. It has not hit the shelves here in New Jersey yet, and when it does, I hope I am able to get my hands on that, and that is the Old Forester 1924. Now, this is a 10-year-old 100 proof bourbon coming out of Old Forester. There are rumors that this has some really, really old bourbon mixed into these into the vats with that 10-year. It at least has to be 10 years old to be on that label, and it could definitely have some older mixed stuff going into it. However, I'm not quite sure how true that is. You really don't know much. So this is going to be an allocated drop most likely. I hope that it joins the Whiskey Row line here in the future, and that it's a little bit more of a shelf available bottle. But as always, these big name brands dropping these bottles, it's going to be difficult to get your hands on in the beginning, but who knows, as everything starts to settle down and slow down in the middle of the year, maybe we'll get a big release throughout the entire country, and these can sit on the shelves for maybe an hour or two instead of a second or two. Who freaking knows? But that Old Forester 1924 is definitely one. MSRP is about $125, I believe, on that bottle, maybe $115, $125. From reviews, people are saying don't spend anything more than what MSRP is. But hey, who knows? If it's coming in at like $130, $140, maybe I'll spend those extra couple of bucks on it just to be able to have it on the shelf and give you guys a review. But let's get into the next bottle that I'm really looking forward to adding to the bar. Now, the next bottle is a bottle that is usually sent to me, and I am very, very grateful for that, and that is the barrel bourbon batches. We've got batch 36 and 37 and maybe a 38 coming out this year, and Barrel is super, super kind and sends me these bottles, and I can't thank them enough, but I cannot wait to add these bottles to the collection this year. If for some reason Barrel doesn't want to send me these bottles this year, by all means, I totally understand, but nonetheless, I will still be picking them up and bringing reviews nonetheless because of how much I absolutely enjoy Barrel's offerings. These bottles are absolutely killer. The blending techniques that they do are absolutely immaculate, and they drop some amazing, amazing juice in these bottles with some blended whiskeys from all over the country that you cannot beat. The next bottle I'm looking forward to is a little bit more of a higher allocated bottle. I highly, 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 highly doubt I will be able to get my hands on this bottle, but it's the Russels Reserve 15 year. Now, we know the 13 year was so hard to get your hands on, and it got a little bit easier come batch 4 and 5, but I personally haven't seen it sit on shelves in quite a while now. But the 15 year, I believe, is going to have an MSRP of around $250 maybe, and I'm willing to spend that money on that bottle if I'm able to find it, because I'm starting to really love these Russels offerings. The Russels Private Select that I've got back there, the Russels 13 is delicious. Russels 10 year, really nice. They are, I believe, I'm not quite sure if this is true or not, but they're possibly doing a Russels honey infused barrel. Now, that might be really interesting. I heard that it's going to be the 10-year finished in a honey-infused barrel. So who knows? I'm not quite sure if that's going to be at that 90 proof like the regular Russels 10-year. But nonetheless, I'm really looking forward to the Russels 15-year. I think it's barrel proof. Who knows where it's coming out of specifically, but really looking forward to that bottle come the rest of this year. Now, next bottle is one that we thought was completely done and over with after last year, and that is the Maker's Mark Wood Finish Series. We had the BEP, the Barrel Entry Proof, and that bottle we were told was the last offering from Maker's Mark, but that is not the case, everybody. We have the new Maker's Mark Heart Release. Now, this, I believe, is something similar to what their wood finishing series was. It's going to be a barrel proof offering from Maker's Mark. It's going to be a limited release. How limited? I've got no idea. What it's going to be, I've really got no idea. Got to do a little bit more research on it. Once we get more info on it, I'll definitely bring, hopefully I can do a review of that bottle and get a full review for you, because we've got most of the offerings from Maker's Mark within the past couple of years, and they are absolute killer bottles. And who knows, maybe this Heart Release is an absolute dynamite pour as well. Well, only time will tell, and hopefully we can get our hands on that Maker's Mark, because I really have a love for the barrel proof Maker's Mark. I really want to add a Maker's Mark 46 cask strength to the collection as well come this year. That's a bottle that I've been hesitant to pick up, as well as the Maker's Mark 101 coming in at 101 proof. Really good offering at that proof point. Really nice mixer. I believe it's coming in at like $35-40, just around a little bit more than their regular offering. Regular Maker's Mark, not my cup of tea, unless you're mixing it in an espresso martini. That's the way to do that bottle right there. But the barrel proof Maker's Mark offerings are my favorite from them, and I definitely want to add that Heart Release and a 46 cask strength come the rest of this year. And next up, for a bottle that I really want to add, we all know about the Bardstown Origin Series. The Bardstown Origin Series is absolutely dynamic and delicious, and it's some of the best stuff that was released in the beginning of 2023. Come this year, though, they are doing single barrel proof picks of their origins, and mind blown from that. I cannot wait to hopefully get my hands on that. It's not released here in New Jersey, so everybody that asks, where do I get these Bardstown bottles? I personally don't get them here in Jersey. I've got buddies that are all over the country that can find these bottles. So you got to do a little bit of muling when you hear about these Bardstown drops and you don't live in Jersey. You can go down to Delaware, I believe they have them, also in Maryland, I believe, and also in Virginia. So you can do a little bit of traveling and find these Bardstown's offerings if you do a little bit of driving. But these single barrel proof picks are going to be 6 year, and I believe they might be entering into that 7 year barrel mark, and they're going to be absolutely delicious. I can only imagine what those bottles are going to be like, and I cannot wait to hopefully add one of those to the bar top and do a review for you guys come this year. Now, for the remainder of these bottles, these are bottles and brands that I don't personally have a bottle of and would like to expand a little bit more for the rest of this year and expand my palette on other distilleries and blenders and stuff like that. So bottle or brand number one that I really want to add to my bar this year is going to be a New Riff. I don't have any New Riff. I've got some samples of New Riff from one of my subscribers and patrons, Josh. He sends me a bunch of New Riff, and they are absolutely delicious. And for some reason, I don't pick up a bottle. They've got the single barrel rye, the single barrel bourbon, the Balboa rye, the malted rye. I don't know why I don't pick these bottles up. They're $50, $60 bottles sitting on the shelves all the time, and I enjoy their offerings, but for some reason I'm stubborn and I don't pick those bottles up. And for this year, I am 100% going to be picking up a New Riff offering for sure. Next up, I want to pick up a Nelson Bros bottle. Whether I don't think they're doing the reserve anymore, but they've got a bunch of finished offerings that are really, really intriguing that hopefully I can pick up this year and add to the bar top because, you know, they're a really, really nice finished bourbons and whiskeys out there. You know, you don't have to just stick with the Amberani. You don't have to stick with Porter. You don't have to stick with all of these just like generic finished products. You know, you can go out there and they have so many different wood finished bourbons out there and wine casks and stuff like that I'm really, really excited for. I believe this year's Blood Oath is finished in Merlot and Cab Franc barrels. That's completely different, right? The only other cab style that I know of is the Prisoner's blend or whatever it is from High West. And moving into High West, I don't have a single bottle of High West. I hopefully will add a bottle or two of High West come this year. Now that I'm getting into ryes, I want to possibly pick up a bottle of the Mitchters Night Dram. The only thing that really stops me from really wanting to pick one of those bottles up is the price tag moving into this year. From 2023, it jumped up to $100 and something. I think like $139, $145. That's pricey. And who knows? Maybe 2024 they might drop the price down a little bit, but with the way that things are going, I highly, highly doubt that price is going to drop. It's only probably going to go up and up and up from here on out. And who knows if Act 12 or what is it? Yeah, Act 12 has some good reviews. I most likely will pick it up because I've been wanting one for a while now, but again, I'm super stubborn and I didn't pick one up within the past couple of years, and I think 2024 is going to be that year that I pick one up and add to the bar top. Next up, I want to add a Lucky 7, whether it's the Frenchman, a Toasted, a Barrel Proof, a 14-year. Lucky 7, I've had a bunch of samples that people have been kind enough to send my way, and they are absolutely delicious. There are single barrels of these of this brand out there, and they are some really delicious juice coming out of those single barrels and the Frenchman and the Toasteds and the 14 years. And hey, I want to add one of those. They take up a lot of space on the shelves because of that canteen style. It's like a 1792 bottle, but a little bit shorter and a little bit wider. But hey, we'll have to add one of those to the bar top this year and bring you guys a review of one of those as well and put them in blinds. That's a lot of these things that I want to do is get these bottles, add them in blinds, see how they compete against, you know, our big name brand bottles, Buffalo Trace, Wild Turkey, Old Forester, stuff like that. See where these bottles compete in these blinds and so on and so forth. You know, I also have never picked up a Booker's. I don't have a single Booker's on my bar top. One of the first barrel-proof bottles of bourbon that I've ever tried in my entire life was Booker's. And I was at a bar, spent like $21 on a pour of, I think it was the Tea Batch or something. It was 2 years ago. Really wasn't into the barrel proof offerings at that point. I was really just starting to get into the bourbon world, and I thought, oh my god, this is hot as hell. But it was really good. It got me really into the barrel proof stuff, and for some reason the price point for Booker's for me is just something that I'm really not the biggest fan of. It's not the oldest stuff in the world. It's proofy, but you're getting 3 or 4 offerings throughout the year. And if you're looking for a really nice beam offering, Baker 7 is like usually my go-to and one of my absolute favorite pours. You can get 8 years, 10 month, 8 year, 1 month at 107 proof, and they're single barrels. And in my opinion, I think that is a better offering than Booker's. But we're gonna have to add a Booker's onto the shelves here in 2024, and maybe we'll add 1, maybe we'll add 2, who knows? But I need to add a Booker's to the bar. Next up, I haven't had a Four Roses since my beginning bourbon journey. I just found a picture the other day of one of my old pictures of my first bourbon setup. I had 4 bottles. I had a Zachariah Harris, I had a Breckenridge, a couple of bottles of Crown Royal, and a bottle of just regular 80 proof Four Roses. And I haven't had a bottle of Four Roses since. That was like 2.5, 3 years ago. For some reason, I get a little bit scared of the Four Roses offerings because of how many different bottles and mash bills and yeast they use and stuff like that. So hopefully we can add a Four Roses to the collection this year. But you know what? Who knows? Maybe I'll pick up a single barrel store pick. They're coming in at barrel proof and stuff like that. Some of them are 8 year, 9 year, 10 year. Some push 11 years. So we're gonna hopefully add a Four Roses or 2 to the collection this year. So that's gonna do it for the bottles and brands that I want to add to my collection this year. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments below. Like I said, I want to know what bottles and brands you want to add to your collection for 2024. There are so many different brands that are being released every single year, and everybody wants to get their foot in the door and get a little piece of that pie from the bourbon world. And some of those brands offer really, really good high-end, barrels that they purchase from other people, or it's just like a brand that you never heard of, and they've been sitting on these their own barrels and stuff like that. We're all gonna add different stuff. I want to know what you guys are adding. Hope you guys enjoy this one. Until next time, this has been Nathan with the Everyday Drinker. Cheers.